Hey friends, Bill here. How you doing today? Tried to do this earlier, but I started and stopped after about 12 seconds, so we're going to pick it back up. First thing I want to talk about before getting the schedule is the Great Commission and how it really relates to us. One, the Great Commission is a simple mission from the Lord, who said basically, go out and tell the world about me. Go tell every tribe. And in other words, his language is like everyone needs to hear. Everyone is called to hear. They've got to come and they've got to, and that's what I want. He's basically saying, I want this to happen. Go do it. And this is not just I'm trying, like I say recently, it's not a religious idea. It's a human idea. Look at the big corporations in the world. They want to go around the world. That's why they're big. They get big. They get bigger. Whether it's McDonald's or Delta or whatever it is, they want to sell hamburgers to everybody and fly everybody they can. It's just natural. It's a natural extension of the way people are when they want to grow and expand. So it's not like just a religious thing we have to wrap in religious language or clothing and act weird about it. It's just natural. King comes down, does what he does. He says, I want everybody to hear about it, and I want you to go tell them. So that's our job, to go tell people about who Jesus is and what he's accomplished. It's really that simple. This is not complicated stuff. And so that's the beginning point. And the church should at least be engaged in this Great Commission work in some level. I think a Christian community that is not engaged in the Great Commission is missing part of the charge that the Lord gave us. Now, listen, friends, he's the king, he's the boss. He tells us what to do. It's kind of simple. I think if you ever, I've not been in the military, but I've been around enough police and stuff to know that when we're out there, they tell you something to do, you got to do it. Like that's what authority is. And we live in a day when authority is not something that's really foremost everybody's mind and appreciates that. But he's the boss. He says, go do it. We need to do it. And a lot of people say that, discipling the nations, preach the gospel, disciple the nations is really a function of the church. And that's the church does disciple, but there's more to it than that. There's this evangelistic idea. There's this apostolic church plan. In other words, to me, the apostle is the church planner, and they're out going into new territory. And I think every Christian should be involved in some way in this process. Now, how do you get engaged? You go, or you give, or you pray, or all the above. Those are really the only three options. You go do the work, you give so others can go, or you pray so the work can happen, and so it'll continue to happen. We must all be engaged in some degree, even praying for our own local body, local effort, that it would grow and increase in a Great Commission mindset, not only for the sake of those who believe and receive every spiritual blessing, but also the King said, do it. We want people to know him. That should be a driving force. When Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:14, the love of Christ compels me. I mean, what's it compel him to do? Tell the people about him. The fear of the Lord compels me. And he says we're ministers of reconciliation. We're ambassadors for Christ. And this what Jesus has done should compel us to go out and proclaim it. Again, not in a religious sense, like we have to get worked into a spiritual frenzy, but and I'm not saying just do it as you go from here and there. No, it should be a proactive, organized endeavor, just like any business in the world. As they get organized, they go out there and they do the work. And so should we. So I want to encourage you to get engaged in the Great Commission. Of course, I would encourage you to get engaged with us if this is what you want to see happen. A proclamation in the open air to thousands of people in all nations. That's really what we're going towards. Excuse me. And that's what we're doing. So I'm always looking for guys to go, people to pray, and people to give so people can go, and all the other things that come along with this. So the Great Commission has got to be incorporated in our mindset. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, the King died for me. The boss says go. Am I really engaged in this work? Yes or no. You'll know it if you are. And just a passive acknowledgement of the Great Commission is insufficient. Getting engaged, doing the work, going forward, praying for it, giving so it can happen. This is what we're talking about. So I want to encourage you today to get engaged in the Great Commission. And that means give, go, or pray, or all the above so people can hear the gospel. That's the message of the day. Hope it's helpful. I'd love to talk with you about it if you want to know how you can get engaged with us here at SFOI.org. And we'll talk about the FIFA Club World Cup before we get into the scheduled for the next 3 days, and I'll talk about the Whitfield training next. So this is the preliminary tournament to the World Cup, which is in Canada, US, and Mexico next year. And they've got games at stadiums across the country. I'm going to read you the stadium and tell you where it's at. See if you live near one. And what I want to ask you to do is look at this link below this video and then go preach the games. The first games start on June the 14th, goes for about a month to July 13th. Stadium Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, Bank of America in Charlotte, TQL Stadium Cincinnati, Rose Bowl, Los Angeles, Hard Rock, Miami, Florida, Geodis Park, Nashville, MetLife Stadium, New Jersey, Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Interco Stadium, Orlando, Lincoln Financial, Philadelphia, Lumen Field, Seattle, Audi Field, Washington, D.C. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stadiums. So 12 men. Are you out there at these places? Go and let me know if you can preach these games. It's going to be amazing. A preliminary work for next year's World Cup, which will be across the country, across this country. Also, the Whitfield training, June 16 to 20, looking for men who want to enter the vocational evangelistic world. That means full-time, and that's your work. And that's what we train people to do. So on one hand, we're training to transition into that work. There's some significant perspectives and things you do with your time, things you have to deal with, your relationship with your pastor, your family, the authorities, your preparation, being about the Word of God in prayer. I talk about all that, including providing for yourself by fundraising or ministry partner development. And then Heath teaches expository preaching. We advocate preaching sermons in the open air. And Heath teaches that track. Track 2, I teach track 1. And that's what it's about. Do you believe you're called, or do you want to do this work? You want sinners to hear the gospel and around the world. There's probably 40 cities we've identified right now. We're looking for guys to go to. They're on the GeorgeWhitfieldProgram.org website. And then if there's other big cities you want to go to, that's fine with me. We really want to concentrate on getting in the big city, and the vocational evangelist with the George Whitfield program itinerates throughout the big city, in the area of the big city. That's the goal. It's saturating that city with the gospel. I did it for 15 years in Atlanta, and so that's what we know to do. That's where the people are at primarily, and that's what when you're in that environment, reaching people is simple. There's a lot of people everywhere. If you happen to live in a city with a lot of foot traffic, London, New York, Toronto, Nashville, it's even easier. So we're looking for guys to enter the vocational evangelistic world. So check the link out here or call me 423-724-7500. Enter in. You know, we cannot, again, understand the rewards that await you if you really lay down the life for the King. If you live for him now, there's no telling what happens. That's a blessing in the next life. So what I'm saying there is, all this hesitation that everyone experiences, all this apprehension, all this hesitation, apprehension, reluctance, these things, you've got to put those out of the way and see what the mission is. And the mission is sinners hearing of the glory of God in the person of Jesus Christ, which again is what the Great Commission. That's right. All right, last thing, we're going to go over the events here: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Almost done here. All right, we've got a couple of NHL games that look like they're on the schedule. I know they're having the Stanley Cup. I guess they're still going on tomorrow. Miami and Edmonton. NBA games are also playing in their championships. A game in New York, Madison Square Garden, New York, and then MLB games tomorrow, Friday. In Chicago, 2:20 start. Cincinnati, 6:40 start. Philadelphia, 6:45. Baltimore, New York, 7:05 start. Toronto, 7:07. Boston, Miami, Florida, 7:10 starts. Kansas City, 7:40. Arlington, Texas, 8:05. Milwaukee, 8:10. Phoenix, 9:40. I think Diego should be there. Same with San Diego, 10:10 start. Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium, 10:15 San Francisco. And then there's a UFL game in San Antonio at 8 o'clock start. Or concerts Friday. So these are Friday and Saturday concerts. Breakaway Fest Atlanta, Center Park Stadium. Well, that's tomorrow. And then Fresh Grass Bentonville Festival, Bentonville, Arkansas. Green Belt Music Festival, Clive, Iowa. And then all weekend, Cosmico in Gurneville, California. EDC Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Hypnic, Fernwood Campground, Big Sur, California. Red Bluff Music Fest, Montgomery. Sand in My Boots, Gulf Shores, Alabama Showcation. Camp Ramblewood, Darlington, Maryland. No more, hang on. Goldenrod Gathering, Placerville, California. Tico Time Bluegrass Fest, Aztec, New Mexico. Wildfire Music Fest, Richmond, Texas. Wire Festival, New York, New York. Waterfront Fest, San Diego, California. Saturday, two NHL games on the books, Raleigh and Dallas. MLB, 105 start at the Bronx, 220 start Chicago. That's a Cubs game, 307 in Toronto, 405 Baltimore, 410 Miami, 605 Philadelphia, 640 Cincinnati, 705 Arlington, 710 Kansas City, 715 Boston, Milwaukee, 810 start Phoenix, 840 start San Diego, 905 San Francisco, 910 Los Angeles. MLS games. Montreal, 11:30 start Flushing, that's Citi Field, New York City, 1:30, 4 o'clock in Columbus, 4:30 in Atlanta. The rest of Saturday, MLS games, Charlotte, Foxborough, 4:30 starts, 5:30 starts Austin, Frisco, Texas, St. Paul, Nashville, 6:30 p.m. start Commerce City, Portland, Oregon, and 7:30 p.m. San Diego. Two UFL games, St. Louis, Houston, 1 p.m. start, and then festivals on Saturday, Cruel War Fest, Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl, Pure Imagination Fest, Prescott, Arizona, and then Saturday and Sunday, Boardwalk Rock, Ocean City, Maryland, Boots in the Park, Albuquerque, New York. And then Sunday, NHL games 2, Toronto, Canada, and Las Vegas. NBA games, Cleveland, Ohio, Oklahoma City, San Francisco. MLB games, 105 start Arlington, 135 Baltimore, Philadelphia, Boston, 137 Toronto, 140 Cincinnati, Miami, 210 start Kansas City, Milwaukee, 220 Chicago, 405 San Francisco, 410 Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Diego, and 710 start in the Bronx. All those times are Eastern times. MLS games, Fort Lauderdale, 4 p.m. start, Carson, California, 6 p.m. start, last thing, UFL and Washington, D.C. Friends, that's it for today. Listen, let me know if you want to talk about getting engaged in what we're doing here at SFOI, either going on an event or joining us at the George Whitfield training June 16 to 20 here near Chattanooga, Tennessee. But by all means, in some way, some fashion, get engaged, friends, in the Great Commission. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.